Hello and welcome to City Life. I'm Beverly Thompson. Making sure that you have a direct say in at least how some of your tax dollars are spent is what participatory budgeting is all about. Since its launch here in Durham in 2018, 2 cycles of the process have been completed. In fact, the winning projects for the second cycle were announced this past summer. Joining me to talk more about what participatory budgeting is and how the second cycle is working differently than the first is Andrew Holland. Andrew has led the program since its launch and is now serving as Interim Assistant Budget Director. Also joining us is Dr. Harvey Hinton. He is the Executive Director of CARE. That's one of the organizations that is receiving a grant from the program. Welcome to you both, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
So Andrew, let's get started with you. What is participatory budgeting, otherwise known as PB Durham?
Well, that's a great question, Beverly. Participatory budgeting in Durham is a process in which residents really have a say-so in how a part of the city's budget is being spent. It allows residents to identify and prioritize public spending projects, and it really gives the residents the power on how the city's budget is being spent. We're actually in the middle of PB Durham Cycle 2, in which we are working with nonprofits to develop and implement grant agreements to ensure that services are provided throughout Durham, specifically the most vulnerable populations.
Okay, thank you. So Dr. Hinton, I understand that your organization CARE is one of the recipients of one of the grants. Tell us a little bit about your organization and what you do.
Healing with CARE is a grassroots organization that was designed to primarily address the health disparities facing the African American community. We were familiar with high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, obesity, and HIV and specifically. And so we have a food pantry because food is essential to healing. And so CARE, our acronym stands for Community Action, Advocacy, Restoration, and Empowerment. And we've been around since around 1996. And at this stage in our agency, we're trying to move from just being a charity to really focusing on social justice issues. And so I think that's how we got to this point.
Okay, all right, thank you. So Andrew, let's go back to participatory budgeting. Tell us a little bit about how it's working in Durham.
Yes, so with participatory budgeting in Durham, also known as PB Durham, usually adheres to 4 phases. The first phase is ideal collection. That's where residents have a say-so as far as what type of proposals they would like. Also, with our second phase, we have proposal development. This is where residents, also known as budget delegates, work alongside city staff to score projects based upon equity, impact, and our city staff, they score projects based upon feasibility. The third phase within participatory budgeting is voting. This is where residents 13 years and older have the opportunity to vote on projects to be implemented. And last but not least, we have implementation. So those winning projects that receive the most votes are then implemented throughout the communities in Durham.
So Andrew, how do you make sure that the entire process is as inclusive and equitable as possible?
Yes, so our goal as PB staff and also our PB steering committee is to ensure that we strive to implement an equitable and inclusive process. Our outreach and engagement strategy has been consistent. It's been consistent with meeting people where they are, especially engaging those most vulnerable residents who may not have traditionally been involved in government decision-making. Our goal has always been to eliminate those barriers which may have traditionally been a roadblock for those residents participating in a program such as this. We've partnered with various community stakeholders throughout Durham, and we've also partnered with the city's Neighborhood Improvement Services Department to assist us with educating residents about the program and to provide an opportunity for these individuals to participate in our program.
Sounds like you make a really wide attempt to make sure everybody can be involved, who wants to be involved. So talk to me a little bit about the second cycle and how it's being conducted.
Yes, so for PB Cycle 2, our goal was really to establish a program to respond to the pandemic. And we decided to establish a grant fund program to support efforts to strengthen the community's social and economic fabric by offering relief assistance to communities in Durham, especially those communities that was hard hit due to the pandemic. So our city council approved $1 million for Durham Connected nonprofit and also community organizations that are directly serving residents impacted by COVID-19. So each nonprofit was eligible to receive up to $50,000 of grant funding. And of course, those services and those programs had to be directly aligned to assisting those most vulnerable populations that was impacted due to the pandemic. As I noted before, we worked with our budget delegates to ensure that each of these grant proposals were scored based upon equity, impact, and our city staff, our technical staff, looked at each of the grant proposals and determined their feasibility and legality. So throughout the month of May, residents had the opportunity to vote on those grant proposals that were completely vetted, and residents had the opportunity to vote online, and they also had the opportunity to vote at our pop-up voting sites in which our PB staff and also our volunteers administered throughout the city of Durham. And as I stated before, our goal was really to meet people where they are. So after the voting process, 22 recipients were winners, and the total budget for these grant recipients is about $950,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you. And Dr. Hinton, I know CARE was one of the organizations that was selected in the second cycle for PB Durham. How will you be using the funding?
We're going to be using the funding to enhance our food pantry and our community health worker program. Throughout the pandemic, we've taken our food pantry to the outside and just really make sure that people are getting the food that they need to help themselves heal. And people are asking lots of questions. They want food that can provide obviously nutritional benefit, but there was just a lot of concerns around how to prepare the food and what other things that they could be doing at home. We're fortunate enough to be in Durham, and we do a lot of work with other community organizations like In Hunger Durham. We're able to link up with a group of med students from Duke, who Root Cause is their names, and they were able to help us kind of formulate this idea around training community health workers to then better educate community members around how to use food and preparing food in ways that is healthy and beneficial. So we're excited about being able to provide another layer of training for our community health workers, and then looking at more ways we can get more food and better food out to our community to help address some of these health issues.
An important mission. So Andrew, I know that there were 3 areas of focus for cycle 2, and CARE falls under the health and human services category. What is the goal of that particular focus area, and what are the other 2 categories?
Yes, so for health and human services, we were really looking for organizations that provided COVID-19 emergency assistance to our most marginalized and vulnerable populations in Durham. And our goal was to ensure that these services would help prevent the spread of the virus and also increase access to mental health services to individuals impacted during the pandemic. We also had another category known as community building and economic opportunities. And within this particular category, we wanted organizations that would increase community capacity through investment of economic and social programming such as employment opportunities and also employment training, food access, eviction prevention, targeted to our most underserved and vulnerable populations. And last but not least, we have our children, youth, and family wellness category. And within this category, we wanted organizations that are supporting the overall wellness of our young and elderly people and their families.
Okay, all right. Well, Dr. Hinton, why do you think that your food pantry and the community health worker program are such a good fit for meeting the goals of the Health and Human Service focus area?
Well, our aim is to increase healthy food access, particularly in communities that have been denied access and haven't had the proper resources to be able to have healthy communities. And so I think when we talk about the citizens of Durham, our program is going to provide some training, going to provide some employment opportunities, and then just increasing people's access to good food. I think that aligns directly with what this funding source was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So, well, can you just tell us about the need that you're seeing for these two programs, and one of which is strengthening your already existing food pantry, which is so admirable. How do you think they'll help lay the foundation for any kind of structural changes that you mentioned?
Well, I think, again, when we start talking about using food in ways to help people heal, that's not people just coming because they're hungry. They're really coming because they want knowledge. And I think that's what we're trying to recognize, is that the people in our community, they know what they want. And we want to provide them with more opportunities for them to learn about ways to heal themselves and get better. And I think that's what this program is allowing us to do, as opposed to, it's great to give whatever food is available. But the reality is our people have needs, they have concerns, and this is a way that we can add some more information to just, as opposed to just passing out food. And so I think there's more long-term sustainable opportunities when we do this, because now people are learning how to better take care of themselves and not just look at, the agency in one light, but they can really see its true mission is being fulfilled, that we're making health opportunities better for members of vulnerable populations. And I think that's very important. And I think another part about this funding that was really good for us is just to see from the community that people care about what we're doing. And that's no slight to the people and the organizations that did not, win funding. I think being a part of the process and letting the community see the work that you're doing and see people say, hey, we want to do that. We want to invest in that. We want more of that because we see that there's a benefit. That's like our pat on the back that sometimes we don't get in the work that we do. So I'm really thankful for the city. Thank you to Andrew and all for who were able to put this together, because it's really something that helps lift our spirits up in this time of need.
Dr. Hinton, I feel your passion coming across. So congratulations. I feel happy that you got this grant as well. So Andrew, who are some of the other organizations that will be receiving some funding?
Yes, so for our children, youth, and family wellness category, Families Moving Forward will be receiving a grant. Book Harvest, helping each adolescent reach their sparks, also known as hearts. Diaper Bank of North Carolina, World Relief Durham, Association for Preservation of the Emu River Valley, Immersion for Spanish Acquisition, Purpose Learning Lab, and Bull City Little League. So for our community building and economic opportunity, the organizations that will be receiving grant funding includes Triangle Residential Options for Substance Abusers, also known as TROSA, Durham Literacy Center, Step Up Durham, SEEDS, Equity Before Birth, Durham Children's Initiative, Durham County Teen Court and Restitution, Southern Vision Alliance, Be Connected Durham. And for our Health and Human Services category, the nonprofits that will be receiving grant funding includes El Futuro, Life Skills Foundation, Center for Child and Family Health, and also CARE.
So all organizations that I think most of us have heard of, and then a few that aren't, but definitely all doing important work in the community. Dr. Hinton, what is the timeline for the work that you'll be doing with this funding? And when do you expect to be able to get started?
The good news is this is stuff that we do, and we're doing it. We're preparing for when the funding actually comes. to be able to offer some more training to our community health workers. And so I know right now we're working through the contract with the city, and we hope that the funding is going to be here soon. But like I say, the good news is this is the work that we really do. And so the funding is just going to really, help us escalate our work.
So what does success look like for the programs, and how will you be measuring that?
Well, obviously, with the training is going to be one aspect of success, that knowing that our community health workers have received more information. I'm looking to see the increase in amount of people who we actually serve. I'm looking to see increases in the people who actually volunteer and donate within the space. And then eventually, obviously, we want to see a change in the health in our community. We want to see happier people. We want to see healthier people. And so if we were able to drive through the city and just see people from all over who are conscious and health conscious around the food that they're eating, I mean, that would be just the ideal, success from a project like this.
Okay, so Andrew, when will the other recipients be receiving their funding, and when do you expect the majority of their work to be done?
Great question, Beverly. So as far as PB staff, we have set a goal of allocating funds to recipients and implementing all proposals no later than June 30th of 2023. We do understand that services are much needed in our more underserved neighborhoods, especially during the pandemic. So that is why we are currently working with our recipients, such as Dr. Henty, to draft grant agreements to ensure that these services are being implemented as quickly but as efficiently as possible. So our goal is to really have the majority of these services provided to our residents by the end of this fiscal year.
Okay. So Andrew, I know we've been talking about cycle 2 of PB Durham, but can you give us a little flavor of how PB cycle 1 actually worked? How it was different from cycle 2?
Yeah, so for the first cycle, the city council approved $2.4 million, in which residents had the opportunity to decide how to spend those funds. So each city council ward was allocated $800,000. And the projects were based upon the ward. So each ward had their own unique menu of projects. So as it relates to PB Cycle 2, we had to change the scope, in which, of course, the pandemic occurred, and we wanted to pivot a bit, and we wanted to ensure that PB Durham was responding to our most vulnerable residents in Durham. So our city council made a decision to adopt $1 million, in which we wanted to include our great nonprofits and also our community organizations to provide that services to the most vulnerable populations during the pandemic. So we're very satisfied with the pivot that took place, and we're very excited to continue to work with our nonprofits to ensure that these services are being provided to our most underserved populations in Durham.
So with that in mind, do you think the next process or focus will change for the next cycle?
That's a great question, and that is all dependent upon the decision and recommendations that will be put forth by our PB Steering Committee, and ultimately our City Council will have the final say-so. As we already know, things can change so quickly. So our goal as PB Durham is to ensure that whatever happens, we want to ensure that the services that we provide are services that are being provided to our most underserved neighborhoods in Durham.
So Dr. Hinton, how can viewers learn more about your wonderful organization's work and the programs that are being funded with PB Durham in particular?
Well, the easiest and the fastest way is for them to visit our website. And our website is www.care, which is CARE-INC.org. And on our website, there's an overview of our programs, as well as links to how you can volunteer. Our address is 214 Broadway Street. We're located right downtown Durham. We are currently closed to the public due to the pandemic, but we're there every day working in food prep. So I just want people to be mindful of that as they try to actually come to the facility, that there are people there that are working in food prep and those volunteer opportunities are there, but our website would be the cleanest way for them to learn about our organization.
Okay, thank you. Andrew, how can viewers learn more about PB Durham and the winners in Cycle 2?
Yes, so our residents or whoever can go to pbdurham.org to learn more about the program and also the PB process, and to learn more about our PB winning projects, such as our Cycle 1 projects, and also our upcoming winning projects for Cycle 2. They can go to pbdurham.org and they will see the list of the winning projects, and they will also see updates in regards to the implementation of those winning projects.
Okay, well, there you have it. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add as we close?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. You know, since the pandemic, our community health workers have been working, very bravely out in the community, trying to get people resources and such as food, getting people connected to the vaccine. That's been very, very important for us. And that's where our efforts are. And so being able to use our food pantry as a catalyst to bring in more people and reach more people, that's just something that we're very proud about and we're happy about. And we're just thankful for the opportunity. And we look to do good work with this project. So thank you.
Great. All right, Andrew?
Yes, I would like to give special thanks to Dr. Henty and the other nonprofits that applied through PB Durham's grant program. It was a very competitive process, but there were a lot of grant proposals that were submitted. So special thanks to all of our nonprofits and community organizations. I would also like to give special thanks to our residents, our community stakeholders, who played a major part in participating in the program. Without them, the program would not be a success. So special thanks to everyone, and also most importantly, the City of Durham for taking part in this process.
Great. Thank you both so much for joining me today. Well, that does it for City Life. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Watch us on Durham Television Network and on YouTube, and listen to our podcast on iTunes. I'm Beverly Thompson. Thank you so much for joining me to learn more about City Life in Durham.